Hey, it's Ryan Thomas, and in this video, I want to share how I broke the pattern of alienation in my family. And parental alienation or alienation in general really is a generational thing because it's a learned behavior. It's something where you're brought up in an environment and you're constantly told and reinforced there is a negative person. There is someone that should be cut out. There is someone that is unworthy. There is someone that we can disregard or that we should disregard. And so when you grow up in that environment and you're observing and you're watching, that becomes a part of you. And so as the generations go on, those belief systems continue to be adopted as normal. And then you can find yourself doing the very same things. And that is what happened in my family. I can trace back multiple generations where the negative stories of somebody being cut out, somebody that should be cut out after a marriage. Hey, check your family at the door. We don't talk to them. Or someone even within the family. Oh, no, they're the black sheep. We don't talk to them. But alienation at the core really is about a mindset. It's not only the action of rejection, but it's also an insidious mindset that says there always has to be a bad person. There's always got to be the bad person that we're focusing on, that we're picking apart, that we're getting rid of in our life, that we are saying is no longer valuable to us, has no value, has no standing, has no right to being treated well or to be receiving love or giving love. And so when that mentality takes hold, everybody is fair game. There's always the next person that's going to get the wrath of that alienation. And so that was something that I looked at not only within my family, but I came to realize watching habitually people, friends, neighbors, there was always the person that, oh, we don't talk to them anymore. You can't go up and talk to the neighbor anymore because we're on the outs with him because he did these things. And then, oh, by the way, you can't go and see your father, or you can't go and see your grandmother because they're terrible and they're awful. So when you grow up and everybody's terrible and awful, and when there's some life event like a divorce that happens, the expectation is, well, you should be rid of them. You should be done with them. Anger, negativity, story, justifying why this person's bad and therefore you're good or you're better or you're more deserving. That was the mindset that I grew up with. And so in my own life, I had a marriage. I had a marriage and then I got divorced. And in that time frame, I didn't have a child, but I had a dog. And so what I could see happen over the course of time was this belief that, well, since you're divorced, she's irrelevant. She should be nothing in your life. There was an issue with our dog that we had. And I had made a mention to my mom when we were on speaking terms that, I let my ex-wife know about my dog Teddy's surgery. And my mom was like, what? Why? And I said, well, what are you talking about? Why? Because that's the mom, right? That's the dog mom. And she was with him for years and she cares about him. She loves him. And it was just the most unbelievable, could not comprehend why I would entertain that. What value? Why would I talk to her? Why would I let her know? Because the mentality in growing up that they had seen in their parents and their parents and their parents and historic was somebody does something wrong, their stuff is out on the front lawn. You get rid of them. You cut them out. They're gone. They're dead to you. Now, in having said that, they might be gone, but that doesn't mean you can't constantly and continually discuss why they're so terrible, why you're so awful, and why we're so much better. So I had already started to break the pattern when I got divorced and did not want to have an adversarial relationship. In fact, when I got divorced, it was really important to me consciously that I break the habit of just having to immediately say, because something didn't work out, because things weren't perfect, because we were no longer on a path that seemed to work together, that I suddenly had to demonize this person and cut this person out. And so that was really the first step. And then that was the first step when I had had some engagement and conversation with my mom time period. There was a time period that I wasn't in contact, but then coming back in, just having that little bit of a reminder, that's how you think. Like, and you're a product of your environment. And I'm a product of my environment, but I'm saying no. I don't want to live like this. I don't want to have this negativity in my life. And so fast forward now, 10 plus years, I think 11 years or so has gone by since I've been divorced. And I talk to my ex-wife fairly regularly. There was something recently that I was trying to figure out and trying to work through. And I reached out and I was like, hey, what do you think? Right? You know me. You've seen what I've gone through. You know who I am since college, right? This woman has known me. And so for me to be able to reach out, get advice, even some of the things, 10, 11 years later, looking back at our relationship, talking about that, seeing the growth. Oh yeah, that problem or that issue that felt so insurmountable to us. Kind of looking back and be like, oh my gosh, I would have handled that totally different, right? And her and I having an old conversation with a newer version of ourselves, a more evolved version from life experience and doing things to better ourselves. What an amazing conversation that we had. It's not to say we should have saved it if only we had done that. It wasn't about that. It was about being able to look back and reflect and feel that growth, feel how something that seemed insurmountable or something that could never resolve itself, or a habitual pattern that we had in our dynamic that just felt like this isn't going anywhere and we don't know how to get out of it. Oh, well, we could have done this. Why did we think that that was such a big deal? Oh my gosh, after some more life experience, that was nothing. And so having that ability to do that has been really healing for me. And I think also healing for her, only in a different way. But just being able to have those conversations, those engagements. Also, having that relationship, and it's not a secret, right? Like Jen, my wife now, is like very open, supportive, understanding. Yeah, that's somebody in your life. There's trust there. There's a bond there. And so even that, like, oh, so I look at patterns, right? So if a pattern is, well, I want to love two different people or have engagement with two different people, and have them in my life, but I'm not supposed to, because historically I'm supposed to, one person has to come at the expense of another. So I have to cut out relationships. And then, ooh, if I really do want that relationship, and I want that engagement, or friendship or conversation, I have to hide it. It's like a dirty little secret because I'll get in trouble. Somebody will be upset. Me choosing to have a relationship over here means something. Oh, I'm not good enough, right? In an alienated child, they're always having to choose this relationship at the expense of the other. If you do something over here, how dare you, right? So it was not only the ability for me to go, you know what, I don't want to be negative. I don't want to communicate or don't want to cut off communication. I still would like to have some sort of friendly relationship and then be able to still have that. And then on top of everything, be able to do it in a way that doesn't create strife, doesn't create resentment, where my ex-wife and my current partner can look and be like, yeah, it's all good. It's great, right? Different people know you at different stages. And the way that I know you and the way that we love each other and the things that we share, that's not impacted because you have a historical relationship with someone else. And especially if that historical relationship can have real value now. And sometimes whether that's, excuse me, whether that's just being friendly, hey, what's up? What's the latest? Where are you at? Or in rare instances where we still will communicate in need of something. Hey, I could use your advice. Hey, I could use your help with this. I can't tell you how healing it has been for me to break that pattern. And and at the same time, it's also continually challenges me to know, well, that's in there. That ability or that natural wiring to maybe find good or bad, or to feel like something good something else has to give, or I can only have a certain amount of relationships. Those limiting beliefs are still absolutely in my brain. They're hardwired into me. I fight them. I recognize I don't want to feel like that, but if left to my default, sure, I could continue down that path of what seems right and what seems normal, what seems to be what everybody else has always done. But it was really important for me to break that habit, and so I'm really really grateful that I've been able to do that. And like I said, it's always a challenge to keep myself in check. Okay, are you good? Are you being overcritical? Are you being oversensitive? Are you feeling like you're creating a problem where a problem doesn't have to exist? So that's been something that I just wanted to share. A lot of times I will do like videos where I'm trying to give advice and things like that. But I wanted to get back to doing a couple of just shares, personal shares about things, about my life, that hopefully can resonate with you, not only for insight on just like who I am, but at the same time, if you find yourself in a pattern, or there's some ways that you've been taught, well, this is just who you are, this is how it's always been, this is how it's always going to be, push back on that, like question that, figure out what you can do to say, you know what, I don't really want to be like that anymore, or I don't want to do that anymore. I want to create other opportunities. So I hope this helps, and look forward to talking with you on the next one.